FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Today, one cannot really discuss long-term growth issues anymore without some reference to climate. I think if you look at the numbers, if you look at the science, there is a constraint here that's coming up, or at least a potential constraint. And therefore, looking at Chinese and Indian growth and the world economic growth, we do have to bring that in. And indeed, you know, when I see this incredible acceleration of world growth, but put it in the long-term historical perspective and also realize that it's quite new in a kind of long-term historical sense, one gets this uneasy feeling, you know, hey, is this really possible? Can the world grow, you know, at 5, 6, 7% rate, unabated? Or are we going to hit really an environmental and a kind of natural resource or climate constraint? I think it's a big question that needs to be analyzed. China and India will be central to this debate. Okay, it is true that 70% of the stock of heat-trapping gases that are in the atmosphere were put there by the rich countries. However, it is also true that even by 1990, in terms of the flow of emissions, the developing countries were already responsible for half the flow if you include landmass change, deforestation. If you don't include deforestation, then it's less than half, 40%. But if you include landmass change, it's already 50-50 in 1990. So, and that's why in the Human Development Report, we had the scenario saying, okay, 80% reduction of emissions for the rich countries by 2050 is a very ambitious target. Few people believe that one can go beyond 80%, okay? For the rich countries, 80% is dramatic. Now, if one wants to reach the 50% reduction in emissions by 2050, by mid-century, that prudent people say should be the target for the world to protect the world from serious climate change effects, then arithmetically, that means that developing countries have to reduce emissions by 20%. Just by pure arithmetic, okay? It's not, doesn't mean, of course, that any particular developing country must reduce emissions by 20%, but if you take all developing countries together, it does mean that what is required to stabilize climate at 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels requires a 20% decrease of emissions by developing countries, decrease over their 1990 level. And today they are already 20-25% higher than that level. Okay? So I think this is an issue that has to be debated. This is an issue that's relevant to the whole China-India world economy debate.